Take 15, a Take 3 Wrestling podcast. We are live. It is late Sunday morning, or late Sunday night, early Monday morning.
That's the one.
Got my days mixed up here. We're here to talk about what's happened this weekend. We figure that we loaded you guys up with some shows earlier in the week, and then we had our big show on Thursday with a little bit of downtime.
It was the Paul Orndorff Hulk Hogan of shows.
It was great. They were there. With all of that going on, we thought that we would try to make this a updated Sunday night, early Monday morning thing, so you guys aren't overloaded with us talking about the same stuff, but we can still talk about some things without having to wait till Thursday.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Plus, I'm off on Sundays and I have to work Saturdays, so it's kind of hard to do a Saturday show because Earnest is Earnest, and, well, you guys know that already.
Yeah, well, you know.
All right, well, let's get right into what happened over the weekend. We'll start on Friday night on Smackdown. Smackdown opens with the one and only John Cena making his way out to the ring, basically saying, I want Roman. A funny exchange with Paul Heyman doing the do-do-do-do.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that clip. I didn't watch SmackDown because, I mean, like, who watches SmackDown? But I saw a little bit of that clip, and I saw what we're gonna like the big thing from the show.
Yes. Also at that show, Sasha Banks and Carmella, or not Sasha Banks. Wow, Bianca Belair and Carmella had a match at the Rolling Loud concert here in Miami.
Yeah, was it good? Did it get good reviews?
I didn't watch the match. I just saw that it was at the concert, which is pretty funny that they kind of linked up with that.
Yeah, and they had I think one other match also. I think there was a Andrew Dawkins and somebody match too.
You mean Angelo Dawkins and
that guy
he beat?
Yeah, there we go.
Now I remember who he wrestled.
Yeah.
And then we got in the closing segment of the show, the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, basically comes out and tells John Cena, no.
Right.
Cena comes out, and then all of a sudden we get the emergence of the first ever Universal Champion, a guy who only held the day for about, 23 hours?
Yeah, something like that. God damn it, Seth Rollins.
The one and only Finn Balor comes out, and Roman says yes to Finn. So
now, is that for SummerSlam, or is it just that Finn's the next guy in line? Because I mean, it's not like we don't have a month still till SummerSlam. So,
I mean, next thing you know, they're going to announce that they have a Roadblock pay-per-view in 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, but they could also just do that on an episode of SmackDown. To be fair, I mean, it's not like Fox doesn't constantly push for them to have big matches on SmackDown.
Yeah, I just don't know that you want to give away a Finn Balor Roman Reigns match.
I know that I wouldn't, but I also wouldn't have given away, blood and guts. The wrestling companies seem to be really all in on, no pun.
Well, I mean, they were giving blood and guts on a free show anyways. They weren't saving that for a pay-per-view.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I just, they do really put a lot of stuff out there like that.
I thought you were going to say that I wouldn't have with, the Hell in the Cell on the episode of SmackDown that we discussed, but we talked about how
Fox wanted that. Yeah.
But I mean, it also made sense because you got to close with Lashley versus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It definitely ended up making sense, but we all know it was Fox made that request,
Mm-hmm. So if this is Finn at SummerSlam, is this WWE kind of saving themselves in case The Rock is not available for WrestleMania?
I don't know, honestly. It's a very intriguing situation. It's one of those things where fans are kind of getting themselves built up into this idea of this thing is definitely going to happen. It must happen when there's no been actual signs that it's happening. It's not like Rock has shown up on WWE TV. It's not like he signed a contract. It's even similar to the CM Punk Daniel Bryan stuff with AEW right now, where it's there's a lot of rumors and there's places that are reporting it there. It sounds really good and stuff like that, but there's no actual guarantees that it's going to happen. And we all know that fans like to get in their heads that they're right about something, and then it turns out that it doesn't happen or something else happens, and then they get all super upset that like the thing they wanted doesn't happen, and they shit all over the thing that actually does happen, which even if it's awesome, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like if everyone is getting themselves super built up and excited for The Rock to return and fight Roman Reigns, and that doesn't end up happening, but we get John Cena versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, that could be an amazing match. I'm not going to be mad about that, but at the end of the day, like how many people would be upset because The Rock isn't there, you know?
Too many.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very strange, and again, it's one of those things I feel like only happens like in pro wrestling.
Yeah, see. I've been thinking about this whole thing with Cena, and I'm like, okay, if Rock can't make it, this is the perfect chance you put Cena in the main event, have him win the Rumble or whatever, and force Roman to face him.
Right.
If for some reason The Rock is available, does that match necessarily need the world title?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's an intriguing thing, and there's not even to say that The Rock wouldn't possibly win the belt because I mean, we all thought that he wouldn't, and like the last time he came back, and you know we were wrong about that. Poor CM Punk. Speaking of CM Punk, but you know, at the end of the day, it's 100% possible that they do that match, and The Rock obviously is someone who doesn't need to be involved in a title match. The match is special because it has The Rock in it.
Yeah, I think that match would main event WrestleMania
But
probably without the title.
But you could say the same thing about a Cena Roman Reigns match, also. To be fair,
True, but Cena winning would get him the record.
true. But I mean, what if like I don't know that he wants that necessarily. Like WWE might want that for him,
That's what I'm saying.
but
I think that's more of Vince wanting him to have it. So have it by winning the title and holding it for a couple weeks and then drop it to insert random name here.
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because that's like there's a part of me that could totally see them doing the Finn Balor Roman Reigns match like on an episode of SmackDown in the next coming weeks, and Balor winning the belt, and then still getting like Cena versus Reigns at SummerSlam, but not having the title involved at all, and having Balor defend the title against somebody. I don't even know who you have him defended against, but you know, I mean, it's not like there's not talent there. I mean, hell, Big E has the briefcase. You know what I mean? Briefcase. I don't know what a briefcase is, but he has the briefcase.
It's a case that holds brisket.
It is. It's my best Ernest impersonation.
I mean, he does talk about man meat. So I mean,
I mean, that's my Ernest.
yep. All right, let's move on. Saturday evening, Game Changer Wrestling in New Jersey. Main event: Matt Cardona versus Nick Gage for the GCW World Title, and with a little help from his arch rival 44OH, Nick Gage loses the GCW World Title to Matt Cardona. 44OH comes out. Their leader, Ricky Shane Page, comes out about 5 minutes later, tries to, quote, stop his companions from attacking Gage, only to turn on Gage, allowing Cardona to hit him with two bundles of light tubes and whatever the hell he wants to call that finishing maneuver now that he does.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. You got to give them credit for that. It's definitely an interesting. I didn't see that coming at all, and it's got. I'm assuming it's got like the fans of GCW kind of riled up, and I mean we all saw like they were throwing trash into the ring and stuff, and I don't know, like it's very Hogan '96 turning and joining the NWO. Like it's the reaction you want. I feel like.
Yeah, I would definitely say that it got the reaction that it desired. But can we talk about how retarded Dave Meltzer is?
I mean, in general, or about this one specific thing?
Well, we'll start with this one specific thing.
Because I mean, yeah, we don't have enough time. We've only got like at the most another 11 minutes here. We don't have enough time to talk about all of the ways that he is.
Yeah, so right after this match ended, Meltzer went on to the Twitter and put out a tweet saying that this behavior was disgusting. Let's peel a layer back here. Dave, you're at an indie show that's known for deathmatch wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and their cult hero just lost to a guy who got cut by WWE and collects Hasbro action figures.
Right.
Which there was a case of Hasbro action figures at ringside.
Right.
That's your line in the sand, Mr. Meltzer?
It was a really weird thing to pick a fight over, honestly. It's a really weird thing to go after GCW for, because it's certainly far from the first time that that's ever happened in pro wrestling history.
I mean, you've already mentioned it, and I guarantee you he didn't bash WCW for the fans throwing trash in the ring when Hogan turned and joined the NWO.
No, I'm sure he actually
He
was like,
probably,
oh my God, look at the heat. That's
oh my God, look at all
insane.
the money I'm going to make by continuing this dirt sheet.
Right.
You know, I'm going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars because Hulk Hogan just turned heel, and I can report about it in my paper. But now it's like, oh, this happened on a random indie show that I can't make any money off of. It's hot garbage.
Right. Exactly.
Really, Dave, pick your battles a little bit wiser here, bud.
Yeah, that was a bad one. I don't know what he was trying to get at with that.
Now let's go back to the match itself. Cardona again wins over Gage. What do you think is next here? Because this is a very interesting thing here. Cardona also on the Impact roster. Nick Gage wrestling Wednesday night.
I mean, look, I think we all understand at this point that, like, outside of WWE and NXT, like, there's no borders anymore when it comes to all these different pro wrestling companies. It feels like everyone's just kind of going everywhere and kind of all doing their own thing, and it's awesome, to be honest. Like, I'm not angry about it at all. I don't see Matt Cardona necessarily keeping that title for very long, but then again, I mean, we've established, like, the heat that he got and the reaction that he got and all of that was so huge that, I mean, if I am GCW, I'm assuming, look, they're probably getting a lot more attention right now than they've gotten about a lot of things that they've done in their history. So if I'm them, I'm gonna try to hold on to him as long as I can as the champion. But I don't know, I obviously don't know how realistic that actually is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to at least let him keep it for a little while.
I mean, but
Um,
like, he really could end up just, losing it in 13 days.
yeah. See, my thing here is with GCW, the main events when Gage is the champion have kind of been no rules. I would like to see them do something a little different here and let Cardona be the champion and fight for a little while and have good wrestling matches with whoever he's wrestling in the main event.
Right. You don't
Like,
want to see him doing, like, the garbage stuff like he was just doing.
no, like this is a spot where, and I'm just going to list off a couple of different names. I'd like to see him wrestle maybe Marco Stunt
Right.
or who else is in the game change? Like even Mance Warner, who they won the tag titles earlier in the show. Like Mance put on good matches in AEW that
Right.
weren't hardcore matches. And then I would love to see Matt Cardona versus Effie
Okay.
for the GCW World Title. I just think that'd be fun.
I could see that. I mean, I don't know much about Effie personally. I know some things, obviously, but I don't know. I've never actually seen him wrestle or anything. So, like,
It'd be
I mean,
entertaining.
that's the thing. Like, Matt Cardona is a level of name talent that could bring attention. Like, someone like me, like, I'm willing to check this out now. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. We'll see what happens with Game Changer Wrestling. We'll keep you guys updated as they announce what's next for the GCW World Champion. Now, early Sunday morning, it was reported Kota Ibushi is out. Hiroshi Tanahashi is in for the IWGP World Title match between Shingo Takagi and now Hiroshi Tanahashi. Other matches on the show saw Dangerous Tekkers, Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi. They took on the then current tag champions Tetsuya Naito and Sonata. Tekkers regained the titles.
That was a hell of a match.
It was a great match.
Yeah, it was.
I think they said it went like 40 minutes though.
I believe that.
So I'd pack a lunch because it's a long one, but it was a really good one. It kept my interest for I'd probably say at least the bulk majority of it. There may have been a moment or two where oh, here's a down spot.
It was interesting to me. I mean, we watched it a little bit earlier, and I said it to you even then. Like, it was interesting because I felt like it hit a certain crescendo and then somehow, like, went back down, but then they brought it back up again. And, like, I mean, it's just like I'm sure our friend Dave Meltzer is going to give it, like, all of the stars. I'd give it 4. Like, I'd give it 4 on my rainbow flag scale.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say it's in the 3 3/4 to 4 1/4 ratio, but I wouldn't go more than 4 1/4.
Right.
Also on that, we saw a new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion as Robbie Eagles defeated the champion El Desperado.
That was something that happened on that show, yes.
Yeah, me and Joe both just kind of weren't really. I don't know if that match ever got out of first. If it never got out of first gear,
I
or
don't
if it was
think
just
Robbie
one of those.
Eagles has more than a first gear. I've never been like a huge fan of his. Like he's not bad, but he's just another one of those guys that's like fairly generic and like there's nothing extremely special there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, like you need guys like that on your roster. You need utility guys like that. Like I'm not mad that he exists there, but does he need to be a junior heavyweight champion?
No, probably not. But this is also because at the beginning of the show, it was announced that Hiromu Takahashi uh, has been medically cleared, and he is next in line. So it looks like we're going to get Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu match in the very near future.
Yeah, I love that.
Anything with Hiromu, we're all in on. All right, let's transition main event. It was Shingo Takagi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. This match was pretty pretty good.
Yeah, no, that was a really good one. I mean, no surprise. We've seen them have like bangers before, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So genuinely, I would have been more surprised if they didn't deliver, to be
Factual.
perfectly honest.
Absolutely.
And it's great. It's great to see Shingo still owning it. He looks so good as world champion. It's Tanahashi's hair was giving me Jennifer Aniston late '90s realness, and I loved it. I was here for everything about that match, and I'm even here for the next challenger.
Yes, post match after Shingo retains, it was Evo because everything is Evo.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm sure he's probably not going to win. I still feel like I don't know that they quite have ever rebuilt him since kind of cutting his legs out from under him the first time he won the title and then lost
Mm-hmm.
it. But I don't know that he needs to win now to be rebuilt either. I think that you can rebuild him without taking it to that place.
Yeah, I agree with you, but just having a good match and a solid outing uh,
Exactly.
for Evil would do big, especially for the Bullet Club with this whole Jay
Jay
White
White
being
over an
over in
Impact.
Impact and everything
Yeah.
else. I don't know that necessarily you want Bullet Club to become a forgotten piece in the
Right.
New Japan landscape.
It's
So
definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those things, though, where this is one of the reasons why I don't get why they got rid of the Intercontinental title.
yeah,
Like right now, Evil in the Intercontinental title scene, or like I don't know, maybe in the Neverweight title scene. I don't even know who the Neverweight champion is right now, to be perfectly
Jay White.
honest. Oh, that's right. Duh. So yeah, you couldn't have him in the Neverweight title scene because like it's his stablemate.
That's like whenever the post match, you're like, oh yeah, Naito's going to be the next one to come out. I'm like, bud.
I literally forgot that they were a team together. It's so weird because it's like they have the opposite problem that AEW has. It's like, they're all on these stables together, but you never actually see them together.
Facts.
Unless it's like an 8-man tag match or.
Or a house show leading up to whatever the next big show is,
Exactly.
where you'll get a random faction versus faction match.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so Shingo retains. Evil comes out with his compadre Dick to go. And it's going to be Evil versus Shingo at the next big show for New Japan. All in all, the first couple matches on this show were kind of very sluggish.
Yes.
It kind of felt like it dragged a little bit. So
Yeah.
for a 3.5 to 4 hour show, I would highly suggest that if you watch the last three matches, I think you would have gotten your money's worth. The Jeff Cobb versus
That was a
Kazuchika
good
Okada
match.
match was a really
Yeah.
good match. The tag title match was a banger, and then of
See,
course Shingo versus.
you know what this podcast is? It's the opposite of like a New Japan show. Like it doesn't drag and it's only 20 minutes and we've only got like 40 seconds left.
All right, so it was actually announced earlier tonight as well. I broke the news to Joe. Jeff Hardy positive for COVID, so we don't know what's going to happen with that Karrion Kross storyline.
But
Make
get
sure you
well
watch.
wishes to him.
Absolutely, make sure you watch Raw tomorrow night to see what happens with that. Plug some stuff before we get out of here. Follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Burn. Follow Joe at JLoShuga. The show is at Take the Number 3 Wrestling. Ernest is there at EJ Christian 7. I don't know any of the other social medias because Ernest hasn't shared that with us yet. So once we get those, I'll be able to plug those. So watch Raw tomorrow night. Look out for the next show where we discuss what happened on Raw. That's Joe. I'm Mike, and we'll
Yo.
see you guys next time on Take 15, a Take 3 wrestling podcast.